Hi there, Johnny here from johnnylipshamstudios.co.uk, and I've got a new video for you today. This one is a bit of a tip, particularly when you are tracking a song and you are working just putting down the guide parts for your song. And I would call this video, Don't Be Trigger Happy with the Delete Key. And the reason why I would call it that is because when you're just putting down guide parts, be very aware, because that's oftentimes when the magic can really happen. Because you and your artist are not under any pressure about the quality of the recording or the standard of the recording, so you relax and you hit record and you go for it. Or at least that's my experience when I'm tracking my own songs or when I'm tracking my artists when they come in. And so that's certainly what happened with this song. My client, Bob David Bell, came in with his guitar to do his guitar and vocal session for this song, which is called Receive Your King, which he's just recently released as a Christmas download. It has the song itself has a very Christmas feel to it, so that's why that's just released just recently. So anyway, getting back to the song, what happened in that tracking session was we were going to put down the guitar and the vocals, and my client asked for a drum loop rather than just the click track, because he wanted to feel very much like he was performing with other musicians, and I quite agree with that. So I went into the loops over here and I dragged in one of these drum loops here into this drum loop track here. Now the thing with this loop was we had to slow it down to fit the tempo, because as you can see here it's 132 beats a minute and the tempo of our song here is 75. So we had to slow it down a lot. Now you may or may not know, but when you slow down audio by time stretching it, you can create artifacting, which is where you can get little distortions happening, which isn't very good. So we had no intention of keeping this. It was just going to be a guide. That was the idea. So we tracked the vocal and the guitar and everything sounded great. And I put down a synth part for like a synth pad part over here. And then my client went home and I carried on working to do the fretless bass and the piano and some other things on the song. And I had kept this drum loop going as a guide. And I got to the end of the session and I thought, I'm just going to tinker with this a little bit. And so I started playing with it. I started playing with the EQ, and I came up with this kind of bell-shaped EQ for it. So rolling off all the bottom, rolling off all the top, and just boosting right at the middle here, about 2K, boosting like 9.5 dB. And this created like a telephone effect. And I quite liked that. And so I then added a phaser to the track, which I should show you just now. Oh, hang on, wrong button. There we go. So again, set the range between 1K and 2.75K. I set the beats here to 1 bar, syncing it to the tempo. Feedback set to 36% roughly. And then the depth to 60%. So the phaser was going to go quite deep as it goes along. So I thought that was a good way to basically just try and cover up some of those artifacts, and it did that quite nicely. And I carried on playing, and I thought, I wonder if I can get this to work with a delay. And so I did. So I set up a bus, which is over here for my delay. I set a beat delay up, and this is what we got. I put in half note beats. I offset it by 9% and just moved the ping factor a little bit along. So it had a slightly dotted feel to it on the right hand side. Feedback 7.5%, got the stereo width, didn't touch the high or low cut. And it started to sound really rather good. And we ended up keeping it. So this is the song as it is, the mix completely finished and sent off for mastering like in this state. So I'm going to play you a little bit of the song. I'll play it with all the effects and then I'll take the effects off.
2,000 years gone by, still I hear that baby cry, crying for a world that's lost her way. Come down as one of us, untouched by sinfulness. He lost all his dignity. Love, here it is, born to die, so we...
Okay, so what I'm going to do now, you can hear it ping-ponging about still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off all of the effects and the loop, and I'm going to play it just as is, and I'll bring it up a little bit in the level.
You might live, all you have given, everything. May the earth receive her King, receive your King.
So you can hear, without the effects there, it sounds just a really distorted, not very pleasant mess, really. So we didn't really like that, and so that's why I kind of went for these particular effects and just got it to sound really cool. And it just totally changed the initial direction for the song, because the initial direction for the song was basically just going to be guitar, vocal, and a little bit of like percussion, and some fretless bass, and that was just the way it was going to go. And so we ended up with something quite different, all because of this drum loop that was just originally just meant to be a guide part. So I think the story here is, the lesson is that when you're in those early guide part tracking phase, just keep an eye out and keep an ear out for what's going on in your sessions, because you might just happen upon something that just makes your song really come alive. I'm Johnny from JohnnyLitchmanStudios.co.uk, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.